Okay, so I already read it, so we're going to 1.0 roll call.
Louise Hines. Here. Ryan Clark. Here. Sharon Van Leer.
Here.
Eric Tessmer.
Here.
Melinda Doles.
Here.
Simi Petnaik.
Here.
Juliana Palacio Sanchez.
Here.
Kira McDonough.
Here.
Tegan Vu.
Here.
Katie Schwartz.
Here. 2.0 Pledge of Allegiance, please stand.
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, 3.0 is approval of the agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Sharon, seconded by Melinda. Any comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. 4.0 is comments to the board. At this time, individuals may speak to the school board on any item relating to South Washington County Schools. The board will not respond to or discuss your comments. Character abuse or specific complaints identifying staff, students, or task force members will not be permitted. The superintendent may be asked to prepare a response to your concerns. Each speaker is permitted to speak for up to 3 minutes in total. At the 3-minute mark, the microphone will be turned off, and we will move on to the next agenda item. We do have one person signed up tonight, and that is Jerome Kustrick. student highlights. 5.1 is student district ambassadors, and that will be introduced by Julie Nielsen, Superintendent.
Thank you. I don't know what was more exciting, having all of our kids here this afternoon or having these three young ladies up here to share some comments with the board. From the first day we met back in September and October, I know the girls would say we were all really quiet. We didn't talk to each other. And now one of the biggest highlights as we concluded our time with our student ambassadors this year were just really all the connections and the relationships that our students have made. That along with just the opportunity to lead and to have a voice. So tonight we have with us 3 students, 2 elementary and 1 middle school. And so in true fashion, I'm going to do some asking of questions for our elementary students. I just want you to know that this group of 3 is so prepared. They really could do it on their own, but they just need a little support yet, and that's okay. I also did share with them that when we have conversations, I know it's natural to wonder, why aren't the kids looking out at the audience? But we really want them talking to the board members. So if you don't see your child making eye contact with you, just know that they're really talking to board members. All right, so to start out with, Juliana, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and share what school you go to?
My name is Juliana Palacio Sanchez, and I go to Crestview Elementary, and I am in 5th grade. I have been a part of the Crestview family since the middle of my kindergarten year.
And can you share one thing that you like about being a student ambassador?
The thing I love most about being a student ambassador is having the opportunity to help my school with lots of things. Last year, we were able to help our custodian pick up trash at the end of the day. We have also gotten to make videos for the morning announcements, helping Crestview students remember our school expectations.
Can you share something interesting happening at your school?
One interesting thing happening at our school is our culture night, Better Together, Building Together. We host this night to celebrate our diversity in our school community and help people learn about other cultures. The celebration is coming up May 8th. Everyone is welcome to come, and we hope to see you there.
Okay. What types of things are your student ambassadors working on?
As I mentioned, our school ambassadors focus on helping others. Another thing we've done is create cards to welcome students who are brand new to Crestview.
Do you want to talk just a little bit about being in 5th grade and who your teacher is and what kind of things you do?
My teachers are one thing that motivates me to learn. Right now I have Mr. T, and he is always reminding us to keep going and never give up. He makes learning fun by encouraging us to get up, move, and work together. He's also really funny.
He happens to be in the audience tonight, so please don't pick up any comedy shows, Mr. T. People know you. I think you must be one of our top senior teachers right now, so glad you're here tonight. What do you love about being in the classroom?
I love when we have Cardinal Jam. The whole school comes together. Each grade gets to take a turn leading it. Kindergarten just led our most recent one, and it was adorable. We always end with a group chant and say, we are respectful, we are responsible, we are safe, we are kind, we are Crestview.
If you could add any program to our school, what would you add?
If I could create a special class or program for kids, it would be a class about helping others. We would think about ways to improve our school and make it a better place. We could also design ways to make our school more green and take care of our planet. It would be helpful to make posters to promote the work we are doing.
And finally, Juliana, I know you have other note cards. Is there anything else you would like to share with the board?
Not really.
Well, maybe what is one thing we did a walk around of our district office here? What's something that you learned about the school district during your time as an ambassador?
One thing I've learned from being a student ambassador is the importance of helping others. The student ambassadors got a tour of the district service center. I enjoy seeing all of the amazing people who work here and help keep our district running smoothly. We got to visit the technology department. I had no idea they could control so many things like phones, computers from that space. It was really cool.
And they got to see how the floor lifted up and how cold it was and all the wires, just a matter of pulling one and we had the internet down, not quite. Thank you, Juliana. Let's move on next to Kira. Kira, do you want to start out by introducing yourself?
Hi, my name is Kira McDonough, and I'm in 5th grade, and I go to Pullman Elementary.
And your principal happens to be here tonight, too.
Yes, he is.
Correct. What do you enjoy most about being a student leader?
I like being a student leader because I like to learn about schools and help them.
And what is something interesting that's happening at your school?
Well, we have clubs coming up. Some of them are ending, but we have Cribbage Club coming up, and we had Chess Club, and we have Girl Science Club, and also Comic Book Club.
What types of things, as leaders in your school, what types of things are you doing?
Well, we are making bracelets. They're kindness bracelets. They have kindness words on them, and we're going to give them out to people who do kind things.
Oh, so you're going to pass out bracelets to kids who are kind.
Yeah.
Fabulous. What motivates you to learn?
Well, I really want to get a higher education in school and have a great career, so I really want to get good grades and stuff so I can get to that high level.
Wow, now that's motivation. If you could create a class or a program for other students, what class would that be?
It would be about art because I'm really passionate about it because I want to be an art teacher when I grow up because I love teaching kids new things.
Is there any form of art like clay or paint or?
I like a lot of forms. I like drawing and like sculpture the best.
Okay, drawing and sculpture. And lastly, what's one highlight of our time together here at District Service Center?
Well, you guys are just all so nice, and having to be able to do fun activities with people and relationships, and I really liked that we did that.
And neither one of our elementary kids said pizza. That was great. All right, Tegan, you're up, our middle school friend from Lake Middle School. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Tegan Vu, and I'm in 7th grade, and I go to Lake Middle School. Some new things that are happening at school is that we just found out there's new construction, as like there will be like an addition to like the building to the front. So me and the other student ambassadors at school have really been working on how to make school like a better place for others. We have done surveys, and we've discussed on like new ideas and a better path we can take. So I've learned there's so many people who work behind the scenes at the district to make schools a better place and to make sure students have what they need, which I really appreciate that. A highlight I've had at the district is just having the ability and opportunity to like meet new people and students who have new ideas and new opinions.
Thank you so much. This is a very highly sought after position, being a student ambassador in our school district, and I think that speaks a lot about our students, what they want to achieve, their opportunities for leadership. I know that one of we had our members for next year join us today, so we had almost double the crew. Elementary, we had 4th graders coming. And one of our new 4th graders, when they found out that they were going to be the student ambassador, apparently cried and had tears. They were so excited to be part of a student ambassador and making sure that student voice was at the table. So to our 3 students this evening, thank you so much for coming and sharing.
Thank you. 5.2 is our National Merit Scholarship recipients and Presidential Scholars, and that will be introduced by Kelly Jansen, Assistant Superintendent.
Good evening, Chair Schwartz, board members, Superintendent Nielsen, and student ambassadors. It is with immense pride that we introduce to you tonight some of our district's most remarkable young people. These scholars have achieved the highest levels of academic distinction, finalists for the 2025 National Merit Scholars, and the candidates identified as presidential scholars. Their dedication and pursuit of excellence embodies the very best of our district, and we are thrilled to celebrate their outstanding accomplishments. To help us celebrate these exceptional students, I'd like to invite 2 of our high school principals to the podium. Please welcome Sarah Sorensen Wagner from Eastridge and Jim Smokovich from, you do not know how much I'm going to pay for that later, by the way. Sarah Sorensen Wagner from Woodbury High School and Jim Smokovich from Eastridge. Thank you both. I know, I'm so embarrassed.
Wow. Thanks for having us here. Here's our, why don't you go so people can see you? Here, can they see you? Okay, perfect. We're so excited to have some students. I was listening to you and your goal for higher education, so maybe in how many years when you're a senior, you'll be standing up here. Okay, have that be a goal. So I am going to begin by telling you a little bit about National Merit and introduce some of our National Merit finalists. The National Merit Scholarship Program is an annual academic competition among high school students for recognition and college scholarships that began in 1955. High school students enter the National Merit Scholarship Program by taking the PSAT test, which serves as a screener of over 1.3 million entrants each year. This past September, approximately 16,000 semifinalists were designated. Each semifinalist, which they were, was asked to complete a detailed scholarship application, which included writing an essay, providing information about extracurricular activities, awards, and leadership positions. From the semifinalist group, approximately 15,000 students across the country were selected as finalists, and SoWashCo Schools is proud to have 10 students achieve National Merit finalist status. From Woodbury High School, we have Joey Capistrant, Mio Olson, and Arjun Centeville. And from Eastridge.
And from Eastridge High School, we have Eliza Kubicek, Yajar Ivy Lynn, Derek Lee, who is ill and not with us tonight, Maya Wynn, Simon Rail, Noah Walquist, who is also not present, Carolyn Zhang, who is not present. I believe she's in California touring schools. And those are the 7 and a total of 10 from Eastridge and Woodbury High School. Congratulations. And next we have our candidates for the U.S. Presidential Scholars Program. And the way our students qualify for this is through their SAT and ACT college admission tests during the testing window, and in which if they score high enough, they are automatically considered for participation. This program cycle concludes with recognition events held in June of 2025. To be considered further, candidates must continue to submit candidacy materials, essays, self-assessments, secondary school reports and transcripts, and then candidates are evaluated on their academic achievement, personal characteristics, leadership and service activities, and an analysis of their essay. Those that do submit candidate materials are considered for semifinalist recognition, and then approximately 500 students nationwide are chosen by an independent national committee of educators convened by the Commission of Presidential Scholars. Here with us tonight are the 2025 U.S. Presidential Scholars from South Washington County Schools, and we have 7 presidential candidates from Eastridge High School. Junwoo Choi, who is not present, Eliza Kubicek, Yajar Ivy Lynn, Darren Lee, and then Derek Lee is sick, Atharva Thakur, and Dylan Zellinger, who is also not present with us tonight. So we wish our Presidential Scholar candidates congratulations on their efforts.
So we have asked our students to, well, not give a big speech, but we'd like you to hear from them. So we've asked them to just share their name, if they've made a college decision, what they're interested in studying, and then to share with you a highlight maybe from high school or an activity that they participate in. So we're kind of going to go through, and Mio's going to be the brave first one.
Hi, my name is Mio Irako Olsen. I'm from Woodbury. Currently, I'm still undecided for college, but I'm considering either Pomona College in Claremont, California, or Carleton College here in Northfield, Minnesota. No matter which college I go to, I'm planning on majoring in either pre-law or business and minoring in gender studies. And one of the highlights from my high school career has been my time on the speech team.
Hello, I'm Joey Capistrant, also from Woodbury. Currently undecided for college, but I know I want to go into electrical engineering. And one thing from high school I've really enjoyed has been my experience on the robotics team.
Hello, I'm Arjun Senthilvale, also from Woodbury High School. I'm currently thinking about going to the University of Minnesota Twin Cities for college and likely doing electrical engineering and mathematics. One thing that I liked doing in high school was participating in Science Olympiad. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Ivy from Eastridge. I'm committed to Harvard, planning on studying Earth and planetary sciences, and a favorite moment of mine from high school is also Science Olympiad.
Hi everyone, my name's Eliza Kubicek. I go to Eastridge. I'm committed to UW-Madison and studying biomedical engineering, and one of my favorite memories from high school was probably playing soccer all 4 years.
Hello, I'm Maya from Eastridge, and I'm planning on going to the University of Arizona in Tucson for astrophysics. And one of the highlights of my high school career has been going to Worlds twice for robotics.
Hello, my name is Darren Lee. I'm a senior from Eastridge. I'm committed to UW-Madison for actuarial science. My favorite memory from Eastridge is participating in Science Olympiad.
Hey, I'm Atharva Thakor, senior at Eastridge. I'm going to commit to University of Minnesota Twin Cities for biology and pre-med. And my favorite memory is Science Olympiad.
My name is Simon Rail. I'm committed to UW-Madison for physics, and I volunteered with National Honor Society for 3 years.
Thank you all.
Good students.
Okay, 6.0 is consent items. All consent items are considered routine and non-controversial by the school board and will be approved by a single motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items. Prior to the meeting, board members had the opportunity to review each item and may have requested that any item be moved to an action item for individual consideration. That did not happen this evening, so can I get a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Moved by
Eric.
seconded by Sharon. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, 7.0 is our information items. We have one on the agenda tonight, and that is 7.1, Long-Range Facilities Planning Update, and that will be presented by Tyrone Brookins, Assistant Superintendent.
All right. Good evening, Chair Schwartz, school board members, Superintendent Nielsen, and student ambassadors. Dan and I were just kind of flashbacking our high school experience, and he was very fond of the Science Olympiad, and I was fond of the Math Olympiad. So making a connection with our high school students here.
Yeah.
So for this evening, we have an update, I would say more information than an update, around our long-range facility planning. And I will be doing the presentation along with Dan Hines, who is our Assistant Director of Engineering and Infrastructure. Through this presentation, we're going to cover considerations from previous long-range facility planning, talk about our current reality, anticipated enrollment, community development, and then close out with some next steps. So in our previous facility planning time, we talked about space for an alternative learning center. The needs for our students continue to grow. We are currently serving 10th and 11th graders at our alternative learning center, and there is definitely a desire and opportunity to include 9th and 10th graders. And as they come into that particular environment, we want to make sure that they have exposure to CTE opportunities and equipment. I would say green space and also some gym space to make sure that they have opportunities to kind of further their learning opportunities. Additionally, we also have opportunities around early learning and preschool programs. Right now, we have waiting lists at most of our elementary schools, and we turn families away each year. And so we're looking for an opportunity to have space where we can meet more needs and kind of decrease that waiting list opportunity there. There's also opportunity for space for transportation. As the district continues to meet the needs of our students, transportation will always be a need, and so we want to make sure that not only do we have the proper equipment, but also the space for that equipment to meet those transportation needs. And then when we think about special education, we know that we were successful with lease levy to meet the needs of our transition program students, but we also recognize there is an opportunity to meet the needs of our students who are in our K-12 programs that we are currently contracting out with 916. And if we can provide our own federal setting for programming, then we will be able to keep those students within our district and meet their needs without having to contract out. Our district service center, as we work to out of this particular space, there are some compromises. We have teaching and learning, we have student support services, and we do our best to make sure that they have a working space. We call it a satellite space. It's like a standing cubicle. We even have some employees working out of the warehouse. We want to make sure that they have an environment that is conducive to their optimal work. And so there will always be a need to consider a space that is conducive to meet those needs. Additionally, opportunity for a land purchase. And here on the slide, it would say, looking out for future needs, and if you get into the future and you will have those needs, but the land may be gone. And as you look around these communities, both in Cottage Grove and also Woodbury, the housing developments are going up. And so that's going to continue to happen. And so at some point, the district is going to need to take action to secure some land for future needs. And those future needs could be buildings, spaces for, like I said, early learning or alternative learning center, but there is definitely a need, and we have to take advantage while the opportunity is still available to us. And then lastly, our athletic and performing arts opportunities. When we look at the current conditions of some of our athletic fields, some of our theater programs, they're sufficient right now, but when I go to other facilities and other districts, I see what the state of the art is producing and what those opportunities are, and we're a little bit behind. I know a couple of years ago we were probably in front, but we have slid with some of the bond opportunities that have been passed in those districts, and so we haven't kept up to speed with some of those districts. And with that, I'm going to pass the mic to my colleague here, Dan Hines, and he's going to talk about some of our current realities.
So it's been a while since we checked in. So really we want to just touch base on what is the current reality, how has our most recent demographic report, which we released in 2023, sort of materialized, and have we recognized the students we were anticipating? So firstly, we know we have our ongoing school construction projects. As some of our students have told us tonight, they are becoming very front and center as they're breaking ground. We know from these projects that we will have enough capacity for the next several years just with the secondary construction. So when I say secondary, I'm talking both middle and high school level. So that construction will provide sufficient space for the foreseeable future. We also know that we are facing about 2,000 empty seats at the elementary level. So we continue to see that lopsided behavior in our enrollment that we've talked about for a very long time, where some of our schools continue to either shrink or sort of stagnate, and other schools continue to grow. We haven't seen any drastic changes in which schools are doing those very things. And we know that between those schools, we vary in size by about 250 students at our smallest elementary to over 900 students at our largest elementary. So there's a decent sized gulf in the sizes of our elementary schools. And then we also know that we have 5 elementary schools, even after the current construction is complete, that we anticipate breaking that 90% capacity mark by the end of this current demographic report, which went through the school year 27-28, and that we have 8 elementary schools that will remain well below 80%. And those numbers are based on efficiencies on how schools work. So we know that kids don't come in perfect little chunks based on grade level. So there's sort of a sweet spot in school enrollment where we have enough seats that we're not crowding classrooms, but we also aren't so over on classrooms that the school becomes inefficient to run. And that sweet spot is between about 80 and 90% is that typical sweet spot as far as operating goes. So here's our anticipated enrollment. So the farthest column on the left, the data column, that is the amount that we had anticipated based on the Hazel Reinhardt demographic report that was released in 2023. Now we can look at the next column over, and basically that column in the middle is the amount of enrollment we are now anticipating based on current trends. So where those numbers come from, we have about 3 years of data that are realized data from that demographic report. The report provided 5 overall years. We have 1 year completed of that report. We are in a current year from that report, and we have an estimated enrollment for next year from that report. So we've got about 3/5 of the data that we need from that report to realize the overall report. So where those numbers come in is we compare the 3 years of data that we've collected against the 3 years of data that were represented in the report, and we check them from an overall accuracy standpoint. Now, the farthest column on the right, those numbers represent that accuracy rate. So if it's a number less than 100%, that means we didn't get as many students as the report anticipated. If it's a number over 100%, that means we got more students than the report anticipated. So keeping in trend with previous reports that we've had over the years, we can see that the elementary level got close, but we didn't quite realize the amount of students that were projected in that report. We came in about 98.8%. At the middle school level, we actually overshot a little bit at about 101%. And at the high school level, we were almost dead on at about 101%. So what this tells us, you collate all of that data, and what it spits out is that the report itself comprehensively was 100.0% accurate over the course of the first 3 years of the report. So kind of extrapolating for that, we feel like we can actually trust the report quite a bit in looking forward for the next 2 years after that. So when we're talking about the schools that we're seeing these enrollment numbers at, we'll start with the schools that we're seeing less than 80% and that we're anticipating that 80% or less for the next foreseeable future. Those schools are Armstrong, Cottage Grove Elementary School, Crestview, Hillside, Middleton, Newport, Royal Oaks, and Woodbury Elementary School. The schools that are sitting in that sort of sweet spot as far as the balance between efficiency and enrollment are concerned, we're seeing that, and this is post-construction enrollment, would be Pine Hill Elementary, so that's post the project that's currently underway, Pullman Elementary, and Red Rock. Red Rock was previously in the tax column, but we've seen a bit of softening of enrollment at Red Rock, so that's sort of moved into that more middle column. And then schools that we're anticipating greater than 90% efficiency at, or enrollment at, are Bailey Elementary, Gray Cloud Elementary, Liberty Ridge, and then also Nuevas and Valley Crossing. But with the caveat on Nuevas and Valley Crossing that we have control over a district on the enrollment in those choice programs. So if those get to be too taxed, we can downrate enrollment slightly on that. Just to make a point on this slide, that Bailey, Gray Cloud, Liberty Ridge, again, same 3 schools we talked about, in addition to Pine Hill and Red Rock in this most previous bond referendum. So we add the capacity, but we know they're continuing to grow, and that's simply based on the fact that the lion's share of the development in the district is within their attendance boundaries. And so that continues to jack that enrollment up at those schools. Community development, so we meet regularly with our cities. This regularly basis is a bi-weekly basis at the moment with all the construction going on. We are provided with their housing data. That includes current lots that are available to developers to put houses on today, as well as upcoming lots. The cities base their comprehensive plan. They're now talking about their 2050 plan. Previous demographic report was based on their 2040 plan. So this data does go out quite a distance, and they have tracked very close to their estimated housing. We know that the housing that was reported in 2023, the mass majority of those developments have come to fruition. A few have moved a little bit slower than the demographic report anticipated, while a few have actually moved a bit quicker. And so what we've sort of seen is this balancing act in the overall number of houses that are being built. And we're anticipating that that keeps pace. Always a big asterisk on that. The economy can play a massive role in housing, and that can happen bidirectionally. If interest rates drop, it's likely that those housing numbers will come up. If we go into a recession, it's likely that those housing numbers will go down. So we're very market dependent on that. But even through recessions of the past, we know housing projects in this district have been resilient to fully going away. They soften for a while, and then they play catch up. So it isn't a matter of these developments are going away, because they just aren't. Dr. Brookins.
Right, so moving from that current reality, we also are cognizant of the challenges that also will present themselves. Math and Science Academy is expanding in the year of 2026, 2027, and with that expansion, they are adding about approximately 350 seats at the elementary level. They're currently a 6 to 12 building, and they're adding elementary. And so that's the seats that will be added at that particular level. And then they're adding about 500 students at the secondary level with this second campus and growing that secondary program. And the current trends show that we typically lose about 2/3 of our enrollment to that particular program. Additionally, there is a capital campaign that has launched and is underway at New Life Academy. They're expanding their facilities, and they haven't launched or said specifically that they're adding school space, but with a capital campaign, you get a building, and all of a sudden, the school pops up. And then, as Dan said, with the housing market, there are some unknown impacts on economic volatility on the housing growth. It may speed up, it may slow down, but we're not 100% sure with that, but it could potentially be a challenge for us. So with that, our next steps, we want to commission a new demographic report to account for the enrollment trends and also any emerging impacts to enrollment. Dan mentioned that the percentage of accuracy was spot on, and so we wanted to leverage that accuracy and make sure that we are planful and as accurate as we can be with what we do as a district. We also want to examine and update our current building capacities to account for the school operation conditions and the instructional needs of our students. We want to establish a consistent operating plan for the location and the allocation of space resources for early childhood, and also, I would say, early learning and early childhood. And then we want to monitor school enrollment to assess the potential for the future need for potential attendance boundary adjustments. When we went out to the community for this bond of 2023, we said no adjustments to boundaries, but we want to continue to monitor that to see if that will address the need at the elementary level where we have those 2,000 empty seats that is projected. And then we want to study previous items considered in the long-range facility plans. Those were those first couple of slides that I shared with you this evening. And lastly, in conjunction with the demographic study, we want to conduct a community survey to review and hear from the community, one, how we're doing as a district and how they perceive the needs from the community and also the school district. So with that, we will close it out and open up for any questions.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions?
I had a question. With the, you said the lion's share of development is happening within the boundaries of Bailey, Gray Cloud, and Liberty Ridge. Are there any other schools where there is some anticipated development, like a phase 2 or phase 3 or whatever on either city's comprehensive plan that would materially shift those capacity numbers?
Yeah, absolutely. So if we look out beyond that 27, 28 date that we've been talking about, eventually in Cottage Grove specifically, development will move to the east of Highway 19. When we push east of 19, then we start to see that increase at Park High School and Cottage Grove Middle as well. Park's already feeling it, with the Pine Hill neighborhoods going up, but that could significantly grow that. And then we look over that direction, we continue on with Gray Cloud in that area, and then we also start to spill into some of the Hillside and Armstrong neighborhoods moving that way too. But their attendance boundaries aren't quite as extensive as a Gray Cloud's attendance boundary, so there's not that level of housing in it. If we move to the Woodbury side of things, currently that major construction is right south of Dale Road. It's about halfway down that section. At some point, utility will move even further south to what we're seeing now and get closer and basically cross Military Road in some spaces there. And so as that infrastructure moves south, we'll see increased growth. Fortunately, for our conversation tonight, that is all Bailey Elementary right now too. So that's one of those places where as that takes off, we'd see even further swelling in the Bailey attendance boundary.
Okay, and so when we had the vote in 2023 and we asked the taxpayers to expand elementary, they expanded the elementary and they added bathrooms to the schools that needed them. And did we gave the taxpayers, we told them it was like a 5-year, this was a 5-year plan in terms of budget, boundary adjustments and stuff like that?
Yep, the end of that particular term is the school year 27-28.
Okay.
The good news is, out of this, is the construction that's ongoing at all levels is sufficient through that date. So we have sufficient, even at the schools that we know are going to continue to be taxed after that, we know up until the school year of 27-28, we're covered with the current construction. Where it begins to feel pressure is post that 27-28 school year, when we get a bit into the unknown, because we had changed that dynamic of, referendum 4 years ago being a full 10-year plan. We stepped it down to a 5-year plan to get within tax tolerance. And with that, it just gives us a smaller window, of kind of longevity in that space.
Any other questions? Okay, we'll move on to 8.0, and that is our action items. We do have 2 this evening. 8.1 is proposed policy changes presented by Julie Nielsen, Superintendent.
Thank you. The following policies being brought forward this evening have been reviewed and revised to reflect updates in Minnesota statute, definition of terms, legal references, and cross-references. At the workshop meeting on April 10th, we had the opportunity to review the policies. This evening, I am asking for approval on the 9 policies: Policy 407, Employee Right to Know; 504, Student Dress and Appearance; 507, Corporal Punishment and Prone Restraint; 513, Student Promotion, Retention, and Program Design; 517, Student Recruiting; 518, DNI Orders; 521, Student Disability, Non-Discrimination; 529, Staff Notification of Violent Behaviors by Student; and 532, Use of Peace Officers and Crisis Teams to remove students with disabilities from school grounds. And again, I'm asking for approval on those 9 policies.
Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Sharon, seconded by Simi. Any comments or questions? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. 8.2 is our resolution for unrequested leave of absence, and that will be presented by Abby Baker, Executive Director of Human Resources and Operations.
Good evening, Chair Schwartz, members of the school board, Superintendent Nielsen, and our student ambassadors. Tonight I will be presenting 8.2, the resolution placing the assistant principal on an unrequested leave of absence. The resolution is to provide notice of intent to place an assistant principal on the unrequested leave of absence effective at the end of the current school year. The timing of the ULA process requires that a resolution proposing placing an assistant principal for placement on ULA be passed by late May. The assistant principal will have the opportunity to request a hearing over the proposed placement on the unrequested leave. In the event of a hearing, the school board must read the transcript of the hearing and consider the findings and recommendations of the hearing officer. This allows the district to meet all contractual obligations before the board can take final action regarding the unrequested leaves. This timeline also allows the district time to notify the assistant principal of the final action before the July 1st, 2025 deadline. Administration requests approval of the resolution.
Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Eric, seconded by Sharon. Any comments?
So, I did have one question. Abby, could you clarify again with the unrequested leave of absence, what is the time frame again for the
recall?
Recall, yes.
Yep. So under the principal's contract, if a similar position in that classification becomes open within 3 years, that person would have rights to recall.
I have a question too. So my understanding is this person will have the opportunity to take on a teaching job if another position of equal does not come open in that 2-year period.
They would be eligible to apply for a teaching job.
Okay. Dana, can you call the roll?
Louise Hines?
Yes.
Ryan Clark?
Yep.
Sharon Van Leer?
Yes.
Eric Chesmer?
Yes.
Melinda Doles?
Yes.
Simi Petniak?
Yes.
Katie Schwartz?
Yes. Okay, motion passes. Thank you. Okay, moving on to 9.0, and that will be our superintendent report.
Thank you. Well, it is testing season, and Kira, how was testing today? Okay, I was just checking in on her because you had to miss Ambassador's Day for testing. What test did you take? Math MCAs. Full testing season, we're getting results back, so we're of course monitoring that. I wanted to highlight that this morning I was at Park High School along with Simi. We had the Junior Book Awards, and students were recognized from various colleges. Simi presented for Wellesley a book award to our outstanding students on academic, for volunteerism, etc. So I believe it was 14 students got recognized today by various colleges. And while it was a great honor for our students and they were very surprised, it also very quickly became a competition of competing universities to get our students' attention. So it was a little bit of kind of a college career fair, perhaps, a little bit going back and forth, but just a wonderful event, again, to highlight the academic achievement of our students. On Saturday, we will have the Cottage Grove Community Showcase. So that has been out in our information, so please plan to attend 10 to 2 o'clock at Park High School Activity Center. South Washington County Schools will be represented along with community education and our early learning program. And finally, also an invitation, May 2nd, our South Washington County Schools Education Foundation will be having a May Mixer. It will be held at the VFW in Cottage Grove from 7 until 10:30, and the proceeds will go toward a scholarship fund.
Thank you. Okay, 10.0, future meeting dates, May 8th, 2025, a school board workshop meeting here at the District Service Center at 6 p.m. And then on May 22nd, 2025, a school board business meeting also here at the District Service Center at 6 p.m. And with that, 11.0, we are adjourned.